we can move to the next presenter. So the next presenter would be Michael. And when Michael was introducing himself, he said, in case you want your application to be faster, your CHT application to be faster, please reach out to him. And he's going to present about that. So if you are using an application which is slow, please feel free to reach out to Michael now, ask all the questions you have, and also follow up with him so that he can support you to make the application faster. So Michael, please take it out.
Yeah, thanks, Anthony. Hi, everyone. My name is Michael Cohn. I'm a product manager at Medic. So last month, we shared some of our focus areas for the year for the care teams. And one of the goals is to make sure that CHWs are satisfied with the performance of their app. And today, I'd like to share some more information about how we are approaching this. Yeah, before I jump into that, I'd like to get a quick reaction from you all. If you know that CHWs in your project have experienced some sort of slowness in their app, can you please just give me a thumbs up reaction in Zoom or a hands up or something like that? I'd love to just get a kind of a ballpark. Any of you work on a project where CHWs express that it was slow, or if you've seen the app be slow? This is a bit of a trick because anybody that has their hand up or a reaction, please, I'm going to expect you to go and post on this forum link here and tell me more about that experience, and then we'll reach out because, yeah, like I said, we really want to focus on some real data here. So one of the things that we've already started working on are some enhancements to the CHT's telemetry system. As many of you already know, we record telemetry for a bunch of system actions. So for example, we already record telemetry for things like loading the tasks page. And in this example snippet, the little JSON you can see on the right, you can see that the ACHW loaded the task page 21 times. And on that day, we recorded things like the minimum amount of time it took to load that page, the maximum amount of time it took to load that page, and the total of all time it took. So with this data, we can do some simple averages to kind of understand roughly how things look, but there's no real way to know like the distribution of these recorded times. So were there 10 really fast times that it loaded this page and 11 really slow times, or was it just like one slow load and a bunch of medium loads? So really, these distributions get further diluted if we try to look at this data across hundreds or thousands of CHWs. So yeah, it's a bit tricky to really understand the overall performance of the app across multiple pages, multiple CHWs. So we wanted to work on a way to better understand system performance for CHWs. So there's an industry standard way of gauging users' level of satisfaction with a web application, and they call this apdex. And apdex stands for Application Performance Index, and it's based on measuring the response time of web pages. So there's been a lot of research done around user behavior, and it's generally accepted that users will be satisfied with your website as long as your web page is normally load within 3 seconds or less. And if web pages consistently take longer than 12 seconds to load, users are very likely to be very frustrated and will abandon the website. So this is generally accepted, and it's in terms of like, there's been a lot of research around this. So one of our goals for this year is to be able to really accurately measure the performance of the CHT across all the different pages and across multiple CHWs. So this will help us identify the areas of the CHT that really need work. And we can really use data to back up what we're working on. this way we can improve those pages so that we can make sure that CHWs enjoy using the CHT and they're not frustrated with the performance of it. So the updates to telemetry that will enable this are pretty simple. Sorry. The existing telemetry that we record will not change. So you can see here on the left, the tasks load, that's not going to change. So if you're already using that data somewhere, we're not going to change that. But what we will do is we're going to start recording telemetry for more pages and more areas of the app. And we've also added more detailed telemetry that helps break down those counts into the different AppDex categories. So, out of those 21 times that they loaded the task page, we'll be able to break that down into how fast it loaded into these different categories. Oh, actually, and this is where I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So yeah, to make all this data a little bit more tangible, I wanted to take you through what this looks like and how we can use it to make decisions. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. The data that you see here is based off of about 15 of our teammates using the CHT over the course of a week on various devices. So this is really just test data. And while it is definitely useful because it highlights some areas of opportunities for improvement, it doesn't really mimic reality because we're using our personal devices. And of course, CHWs will interact with the CHT in many different ways, and there are many different configurations out there. So, but I did just kind of want to walk you through what some of this actually means and what it looks like. So AppDex from a high level, there's a scoring. So, and there's a calculation that goes along with this, but essentially, I'm not going to go into the calculation right now, but this is what these numbers look like for the different pages. If you scored 0.93 to 1.0, it's considered excellent. Then you have different levels for good, fair, poor, and unacceptable. So for all these different areas across the CHT where we're recording this telemetry, so in the example we looked at just a second ago, we were looking at tasks load. So in our little test scenario for that we did across a matter of a week with these 15 teammates, we can see that 85 of the times it loaded the task page, they were within 3 seconds. So it was satisfied. They were satisfied. So 0 to 3 seconds. 22 of those times were they tolerated, and 18 of the times it took 12 seconds or longer to load the task page. And based on these numbers, with the AppDex calculation, that meant that that page loaded, the score that it got was fair. So basically, we're looking at this data across all the different pages and measuring this in these kind of different time frames here to get a score for each one of the pages. And this will basically allow us to, using data, to really understand the performance of the app for across the entire app, across all the different pages in a particular instance based on your configuration, based on the devices that your CHWs are using. So this is kind of like the scoring, what it looks like from a scoring perspective and looking at the detail. But we also have, we can break this down into all kinds of different things, like the total number of interactions with a particular page. So here we have the analytics targets load. We recorded that 53 times. There were 13 different users who loaded that page across. With those 13 users, some of them used it on multiple devices. We can see what percentage of users had frustrating experiences on that page, that kind of thing. So yeah, we're able to really get some detailed information here and understand how CHWs are experiencing the app from a performance perspective. So yeah, the only way we're really going to accurately know where and in what scenarios CHWs are experiencing slowness in the app is if we have this telemetry data from real interactions. So again, this data is just from us in our testing environment. So again, if you were one of the people who reacted with the thumbs up earlier, saying that your CHWs have experienced slowness in your app, definitely reach out so we can work with you to get this telemetry data so that we can better understand where the CHWs in your project, using the devices in your project, and using your configuration are experiencing slowness in the app, because we want to make it faster for them. And that's just what I want to share for this month.
I know there is a question from Carol on slowness. I'm not sure if you'd like to share that or it's another challenge.
Thanks for calling me out. No, we've been iterating consistently for about a year with our mobile EMR app in Malawi. I do think we're getting close, but it has definitely been a slog. I think in part, there are specific complications that come with the complexity, sort of like the further you push the CHT, the more you come up against the satisfaction or the timing issues. I think in South Africa for two-way texting, like we presented today, our biggest issue, honestly, are like the connectivity pauses that aren't really app dependent. And so I actually want to like support Medic on this too, that like there are some things that are app specific. And in South Africa, we have load shedding and cell connectivity and things. Sometimes it's really hard to identify what the source of the slowness is.
Gotcha. Thanks for that. Yeah, and for this in particular, this is really once they're in the app, and in general, this data is also recorded while they're offline, or in particular while they're offline. It also works for online users as well. I'm not exactly sure if your users tend to be online, or well, I guess they probably are online users, but it does
And
record.
I think the majority are actually offline users.
Hmm. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, so this is really focused on the interactions in the app, unrelated to availability of like cell connectivity and stuff like that. But
Yes, there is Yuvraj, do you like to ask your question in a minute?
Yeah, no. So in the configuration that we are working, it's still on 3.x, and I was wondering if these AppDex work queries from the existing collection points, or there were new endpoints or new calculation also added.
yeah, so we added a number of new measurements. So for example, we added a lot like on the contacts page. So previously there wasn't any telemetry on things like how fast it loaded the contacts list, or once you tapped on a particular contact, how long does it take to load up, the household profile and all the reports for that household and all the tasks for that household. So yes, we did add a number of new measurements, like telemetry keys for that.
Okay, so that means, yeah, I think that is one of the issue where navigating from one hierarchy to another one. Also, we're facing some sort of problem, and you said like we calculate that time now.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And I see that task appears to be the major like area where it is very slow on this demo. Was it only tested with single instance, or it was seen on a couple of other areas as well?
Yeah, this was just tested on, there were like about 15 of us product teammates who logged into one instance and used that one same configuration. And that's why, we really need to get this data for some live instances, so production instances, so we can really get some realistic data on this. I will just real quick, I'm going to share my screen again so you can see. Here we go. to answer your question in more detail, Yuvraj. So here's the ones for the contact list, for example. So you'll see the, so this is the contact list. So like on the left-hand side of the contacts page, and then each time you tap into a different level, so, the county, sub-county, community health unit, for example, will record how long it takes each one of those based on what the contact type is.
Okay, thanks.
My name is Philip Mwago. I am a technical product owner within the ecosystem focus working group. So the first update is on the dashboards. So we've been working on an enhancement called CHT Sync. So CHT Sync is basically just a way of copying data from the database that we have in CHT into an analytics database. So this makes it easier makes it more seamless for our users to actually query the data from the analytics database. So based on your dashboarding platform, could be Superset, could be Clickfolio, could be whatever you choose. So one of the updates we've made recently is that Superset will no longer be bundled with the CHT Docker configuration. Why we did this is because we needed to concentrate more on how the data is actually copied over from CouchDB, that's the database on CHT, over to the analytics database. And so we'll provide some documentation how we can actually connect to Postgres. That's between Superset and Postgres, and we've already started that documentation. And also the other thing is also we are using incremental tables as opposed to the first configuration that we had when we tried to deploy. We had a deployment that showed us that utilizing incremental tables is actually a better way, since you're able to the widgets are able to pull the data much more seamlessly. And then we're also working on optimizing CHT Sync and documenting this as well. This is based on a comparison that we will do between the currents, what is actually out there, that's Couch2PG. So we'll compare Couch2PG and CHT Sync, and then just optimize CHT Sync and share these updates. So the next one is on interoperability. So we have some exciting news where we are working on interoperating the CHT with OpenMRS. This will be based on the FAIR standards. So last year I made a couple of presentations on the loss to follow-up workflow, which we did, which is our reference application. So this time around we are working on ANC and PNC. So we'll leave the technical partner to announce it once all this is done. But the idea here is basically have these two workflows. The two systems will be exchanging data based on the ANC form and the PNC form, and this is bidirectional. And that would mean we have to we're just trying to have this data being exchanged based on a standard. That would mean also mapping out this data. So in terms of having a standard, we are looking to a number of concept dictionaries. So we are currently leaning towards CIL that is maintained by Columbia University. And the reason for this is because OpenMRS already conforms to that. That would mean it's easier for us to we reduce the workload. And also if we go to another dictionary, it also means we may need to build another, we may need to increase the level of effort just to map this map this work. So this is some exciting news that you're looking forward to. I'll be sharing more updates, probably a couple of demos in the next couple of months with the technical partner. That's it for ecosystem.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. I'm not sure if you shared the reason why you dropped Superset. I think Solomon reached out and they were interested in CHT Sync. Would you mind just repeating that?
Okay, so for Superset, it's one of the dashboarding tools that we have. It's open source. We will have some documentation on how you could actually connect it to Postgres and pick out that data. Part of the reason we dropped it is because of just could be the resourcing, part of the resourcing on the containers and the work involved there, and having it bundled within all the technologies that are there. That we already have Logstash, we have DBT, which is already in which comes up bundled in the configuration. So we dropped Superset. However, you're able to connect to it relatively easily and pick out the data and just query the data. I hope I responded to that.
There is a question from Marco.
Yes, I was just wondering related to the POC. So then when you execute an ANC questionnaire, for example, you would create fire resources and store it in a fire server, or how would it work?
Yeah, thanks for that. So currently what we are using the Fire standard. We are trying to decide on whether to use the Happy Fire server where we store the data. However, for this workflow, both CHT and OpenMRS will store the same data. So if we have the idea here is if we have a Fire server, that means we are storing data in three places, which also means more maintenance and more resourcing. So we are looking at having it on using the Fire standard. That's the payload is in the JSON format that goes bidirectionally between the CHT and OpenMRS.
Cool, thanks.
Hey, hello everybody. My name's Josh Kuster-Steffen. I'm a software engineer on the Allies team, and this is the moment you've all been waiting for, where the engineer comes on at the end of the meeting to lecture you about security stuff. But no, in all seriousness, security has been a big focus lately on the Allies team. It's obviously like lots of different aspects to come at in terms of security of your CHT instance. The first one I want to look at here is security, device security, so clients. It is important when you've got CHT deployed and you've got client devices on the field, it's important to be able to track and to know what's the level of software on those devices. As software gets old and out of date, it tends to have more identified vulnerabilities that can be exploited. So you want to be able to track, who's running old versions of Android, or even just simply who's running an old version of your APK of your app out in the field. Previously, you could synthesize that data either kind of by looking at data from Couch, or if you're running CHT sync, or if you've got your Couch data in Postgres, you could kind of get those queries from there. Now we've just added a new endpoint on the CHT server itself that you can easily query that endpoint, even just with something like curl, and get back a report, essentially some JSON documents that are going to tell you kind of the latest information for each of your users and their devices, and tell you all kinds of good things. So more documentation about that out on the CHT docs site, along with the rest of our kind of API documentation. But definitely just an easier, more convenient way for administrators to kind of get a snapshot of where everybody is on their deployment currently. And then next slide, please. Speaking of the docs site, we've got a whole new page that we have published recently out there that's all kind of focused on users security when it comes to onboarding users and kind of maintaining users and passwords. I won't try to go into all of the details right now, but there's lots of good information there, some kind of things to read and to think about in terms of your deployment, and if you've got user onboarding that you're going to go do, it's absolutely a great resource to go and see kind of what's available in terms of functionality for bringing those on, what's recommended from a security standpoint on how to get users logged in and how to manage users, once you've got them created. And then just additionally, there's a number of tips and tricks that are going to be really helpful for system administrators who are trying to do kind of the back end user management. How do you reset passwords maybe from the command line and stuff like that? So definitely check out that new security guide out on CHT Docs.
Sam, I think your hand is up. Would you like to share your question?
Yeah, sorry. Thanks everyone for the presentation. Just a quick one to fill on the dashboarding tools. And now that Superset has been removed from the out of the box, which one would you recommend between Clickfolio that we've been using before and Superset moving forward, especially with CHT Sync?
We'd recommend going with Superset. However, you're free to use any other dashboarding tool. We also provide some documentation how you can connect Superset to Postgres, as it is open source as well.
All right, thank you.
Thanks everyone for joining the call, and thanks to all presenters. It has been a very engaging conversation. Let's continue the conversation on the forum. And the take-home points is we have the reference app, direct to client messaging. Reach out to Michael in case you need your app to be fast. And also, there are many updates for the API and also interoperability. And last one, also there are some very great security features that are available. So enjoy the rest of your week and looking forward to seeing you on April 11th for our April Roundup call. Thanks and bye.